You're listening to Richard Vobes.
Hello. The one thing that we can be absolutely sure of in this life is that we're all going to die. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not really looking forward to that prospect. I mean, I've got so many things to do in life, but there are probably people among us who are getting closer to that rather grim event. Take, for example, my mum. Poor old soul, she's 81, and she must be getting close to death.
No, in actual fact, your mum is in the best of health. She is in hospital at the moment as we record this, but she's sitting up and she's taking fluids, and she's soon to be discharged back to her life.
Oh, right. Well, in that case, what about my dad? He's 84, bless him. I know he's got dementia, but he might as well be dead.
That's no way to speak about your father. Your father is also in rude health. He has an enjoyment of food, and he likes the social element of his care home.
Oh, all right then. It must be me. No. You see, thing is, death is such a taboo. People don't like to talk about death, do they? It's one of those subjects that must not be mentioned. It's as if talking about death is actually summoning the grim hooded figure of death himself.
Richard Vobes, I am the grim hooded figure of death. You are a wanted man. I have tried to call for you many times, and each time you have been unavailable.
Yeah, well, I'm a very busy man. I've got lots of things to do. I'm making podcasts, and I'm writing books, and I'm making YouTube videos. I can't just be available for death any time he wants to come along.
That's all very well. But every time I pop my head up out of the ground, you never seem to be in.
Yeah, but you never make an appointment with me. Look, I've got my diary here. 1874, 9 o'clock, Monday morning. I was out fishing. Yeah, July 40th, 1742. I was hanging pictures at the Tate Gallery. I'm a very busy man. I can't just... Wait a minute. You shouldn't be up there. Death? Shouldn't you be down there?
Sir, it's me, sir. I'm down here waiting for you.
Oh, not you, Eric. He's pretty much half dead. What are you doing down there anyway?
I was just twiddling my thumbs, sir.
Well, don't go twiddling your thumbs. You're supposed to be archiving the show or doing something useful.
I am doing something useful. I'm warming up the pitchfork.
Pitchfork? Just prepare the thumbnail for the YouTube channel. Get on with it and be a good sport. That's Eric. He's a spooky little bloke, sort of dwarf and with weird hair and a chilling appearance. That's because he looks half dead. The thing is, what does a dead person look like? I've never seen a dead person. In my 50-odd years, I have never stumbled across someone who snuffed it. Now, I know there are plenty of people that have, and they know exactly what the dead looks like. They describe them as having this waxy, pale facial features. But I've never seen one. And yet, in the old days, it was perfectly normal to see death. It was part of life. Somebody died, snuffed it. They would be laid out on the table, in the front room, in the parlour, and all the family would gather round and pay their respects.
Oh, Arthur, it's such a shame that you passed. Here's the £5 I owed you. And I just finished knitting him a nice jumper as well. You'll just have to wear it in your coffin.
Have you ever seen a dead person? Have you? Real close up? Have you touched one? Oh, gives me the willies just thinking about it. But how can you tell the difference between someone being dead and someone just asleep? Is there a way of telling the difference? My sister's a nurse. She'll tell us. You can see the family resemblance. No? Oh. Anyway, Corinne, how can you tell if somebody's dead?
You just know, and I can't tell you how you know. You just know. So you'll look at somebody and there's this very odd feeling that this is the person, here they are, they're there in the bed, but they're not there. And it's a simultaneous being there and not there, that they, whatever the bit that makes them they're not there anymore. If you're with somebody when they die, people do make all sorts of odd noises as physically, like gas is released, so there are all sorts of noises. Or that people might make a sort of deep sighing just as their lungs are emptying, so that could be confusing, that they, perhaps they are still breathing after all. But even then, when you look at them, something about them, they have gone, you can see it. But if you aren't with the person when they're dying, so you don't see that process, and again, I can't tell you what exactly that is, but you just know.
Yes, but it's easy for a nurse, isn't it? You've got the experience. But what about visitors? Do they know what it's like?
So I have had the very extraordinary and embarrassing experience of coming into the room and having people sitting at the bedside talking to somebody who's dead, and they have been unaware. And so you come in and there they are, and for all you know, they could have been talking to them for half an hour, they might be dead. And then you've got to very gently, without making, well, they're going to be distressed anyway, but without adding humiliation into it as well, that they're going to feel, embarrassed that they hadn't realised and they've been talking to their relative when they're dead, so you've got to very gently sort of tell them, sorry, did you realise I need to tell you this, so terribly awkward.
Hold that thought. I remember an experience when my dad and I, years and years ago, when I was quite small, we'd been and visited my grandma, and we were driving back from my grandma's house down this long road, and there was this little doddery old woman. She was ancient. Oh, shabba-dee, da-da-da, walking with her Zimmer frame. Shabba-da-dee, shabba-da-doo, like that. We stopped. Dad felt very sorry for her, so we stopped and we said, "Excuse me, would you like a lift?" "Yes, please," she said. That's marvellous. So we got her in the car, and it was all nice, and we sat her up, put the elastic band round her. Not the elastic band, the, what do you call that thing that goes, the safety belt, that's the word. Yeah, we got her in there, and it was all nice and charming. We were driving along, and we said, "Oh, I hope you have a nice day." "Oh, yes, not too bad, but it was a bit grim last week." I said, "Oh, what happened last week?" She said, "Oh, I've been in a coma for a few days." We said, "No, in a coma? How awful." She said, "Yes, I was so comatose, they thought I was dead." I thought, blimey, how awful. "No, but it's worse than that." "Oh, really? How awful?" "Yes, terrible. They buried me." "They what?" "They buried me." "They buried you?" "Yes, they buried me." "I know, you've just said that." "They buried me." Stop saying it." "I woke up and I was in a coffin." "Oh, blimey. They were just putting the lid on." I said, "Oi, excuse me, would you mind?" I can tell you, the funeral director wasn't very happy at all. I'm not surprised. Oh my God, can you imagine? That is one of my fears. When I'm dead, I don't know whether I want to be burnt or buried. Still, it can't be fun being a nurse looking after the living, let alone the dead. I mean, there's a lot of body fluids in nursing, isn't there?
The thing that's really still, for more people than you would ever imagine, and still for me, is snot. And, you don't really think of snot as a bodily fluid that you have to come into contact with, but people with chest infections or all sorts of illnesses, that people are coughing up all sorts of brown snot, green snot, runny snot, it's often very profuse and stringy and dangling, and wipe it or, deal with it. Yeah.
Yes, all right. That's enough to put you off your cornflakes, isn't it? Well, thanks for watching the Vobes Show. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and subscribe. And I'll see you again on the next one. Until then, goodbye.
You're listening to Richard Vobes.